What's up, everybody? Welcome to Bios3 Raw TV. We're going to do this video today. This is starting off my weekend at the Europa last weekend, and I had quite a few people come up to me. And I filmed some people, but I'm sure some of these people don't want to be on camera. But they come up to me and they actually tell me flat out about their addiction problems, how they've been addicted, how they're getting through it, how they struggle. I had one individual, and you know who you are when you're watching this, who had his wife or girlfriend or whatever be standing behind me or behind him, and he was kind of just leaning into me and said, you know, nobody knows except for my counselors and my, you know, detox doctor that I, you know, I'm a recovering meth addict or meth or heroin. Not even my wife. You're the first one I'm telling besides that, but I'm telling you this because of the fact that I know you understand. I know you've been there and you are there. You know, and you know, he stepped back and had tears in his eyes, and I'm looking at him, and you know, I have a hard time keeping my emotions in check because I understand. I understand 100%. And you know, I got an email from an individual. His name is going to be withheld because obviously for personal reasons. But he wanted to know about, he's on methadone. He's coming off of, I think it was pills that he was on, and he's on methadone. He's going to be coming off the methadone and trying to get clean off the methadone. Now, the methadone is very hard to get off. I was on it myself. We reduced it gradually to the point of, I don't even remember what milligrams it was. And I don't know if you're getting a pill or if you're getting a liquid, but if it's a liquid, they can reduce it very, very strictly to a certain milligram per milligram basis or micrograms or whatever it is. To reduce it, like if you had to, it'd be like 1 milligram a week instead of like 5, instead of if you were cutting the pills or whatever. So this individual wants to get off the methadone and wants to know, you know, pretty much what it's going to be like and if it's feasible to continue training. Now here's the thing. I did continue training. I went to the gym, even if it was just like a light half-assed workout. I mean, remember sitting in the bench press machine, I was like my arms were shaking all over the place. I remember trying to do lat pull-downs, and my arms were going like this. It was terrible the way that I felt. And, you know, I was sweating cold sweats, and I felt like shit. And I was detoxing for the methadone. I had gone to the doctor, and I had to go to a psychiatrist or psychologist, whichever one prescribes the medication for you, the head doctor. And he said you had to be off methadone for like 3 days, 72 hours, or whatever it was, before you could actually take the Suboxone that would cover the receptor. You have to stop taking the methadone, the receptor opens up, and when the receptor opens up, you're essentially in withdrawals. Then what you try to do is get the Suboxone in your system as fast as possible to cover the receptor so that you're no longer in withdrawals. And I remember, you know, sitting there in the office and him telling me this. He's like, you're going to have to hurt for a couple days, but it's only a couple days. I was like, fuck. And then instantly, even though I'm still on the methadone, my anxiety levels started to go up. Like immediately your anxiety goes through the fucking roof when you realize you're going to have to go through withdrawals. And they can use stuff like Klonidine to keep your blood pressure down and stuff like that. And, you know, they lowered my methadone to a certain point, but I was actually moving away from Rhode Island. So at the time, it was like they couldn't lower it down slowly to the point where, you know, I could take a year to get off it. I think I'd already been on it for like a year, to be honest with you. So they lowered it fairly quick, and I did experience some withdrawal symptoms, and then cut the methadone off. And they send you, the head doctor sends you the script to the pharmacy. They give you 2 pills. You come back with the 2 pills after, you bring the 2 pills to, well, he calls it in. I don't know how that worked. And then you come in 2 days later after you've been off the methadone, withdrawn, back to the doctor's office, and he gives you like half a pill. You dissolve it under your tongue, and they see what the dosage is going to be based on how much they give you. Now, I remember him giving me the half a dose or whatever it was, and I was still like bugging out. It was more anxiety, I think, than anything physical, because he looked at me and said, your pupils are not fucked up. And he didn't say fucked up. Your pupils are not messed up. He's like, so you're not really going through the withdrawals you think you're going through. A lot of it's in your head, which may have well been true. But, you know, as you're going through this, it was imperative that I had something to focus on besides the withdrawals, besides the fight that I was going through. And like everything else in my life up to that point, you know, even now, I mean, bodybuilding was what I put it into. You know, I took that one thing and focused on that and put everything into that. And whatever else was going on, it kind of fell by the wayside, which, you know, is withdrawal. Who the fuck doesn't want withdrawal to fall by the wayside? So I would go to the gym and train as best I could, you know, light workouts, whatever. I was still maintaining my weight. Miraculously, I was still probably about 210, 215, maybe 220. I still looked, you know, with a shirt on, I still looked like a bodybuilder. I wasn't that lean. I mean, I was getting kind of chubbed out. I don't even think I was taking any gear at the time. And I could just remember that it was very hard to eat. And this individual who sent me the email asked me flat out, he's like, you know, how do I keep my gains? He's like, I've trained really hard while on the methadone to make gains. How do I keep my gains? Now, I didn't lose my gains because I was going to the gym still, but protein shakes were my absolute best friend. And this is where, you know, a lot of people talk about food. When you're withdrawing, I don't know if any of you have been through withdrawals. When you go through withdrawals, food is the last fucking thing on your mind. You don't even usually want to drink water. Like, there comes a time where you're so parched because you notice you haven't drank any water because you've been in bed in pain, curled up in the fetal position for 6 hours or whatever. You notice, oh shit, I haven't drank any water. And you like chug water, then it bloats your stomach out and you feel like shit. You may puke it back up. I mean, it's a horrible experience. So the last thing you want to do is eat any kind of protein, chicken, rice, you know, even McDonald's, like any pizza, tacos, everything just sounds fucking awful at that point. But a vanilla whey protein, that's what was my main thing, vanilla whey protein. I would drink the shakes, and I would drink them slowly, sometimes mix them up in shakes, like in the blender with some ice and stuff, blend it up with some peanut butter. You know, I was doing stuff like that, and that absolutely helped me maintain my gains. You know, like, and it will help you with yours. Don't get me wrong. It's not fun to do this. You're gonna still have to work. Sucking down a shake while you're in withdrawals is work, okay? But it works. You know, I did the same thing with my dad when he was going through his cancer treatments. You know, he couldn't eat. He couldn't eat at all. He actually had something called thrush. It's like an infection in your throat from the radiation that he was getting on his chest, and it hit him pretty quickly. It wasn't supposed to really hit him for like maybe 6 weeks into the therapy, and it hit him like fucking a week into it. He was having a hard time eating already. The nausea was controlled by some kind of medication, but, you know, he couldn't swallow. He couldn't really drink. He couldn't swallow any foods. So they would feed him like applesauce and stuff. So what I did was I got him literally a thing of Labrada weight gainer, whatever, by Lee Labrada's company. And I had it shipped to the house, and I had my mom making him shakes with that to be able to maintain his weight. And my dad, I mean, through cancer treatment, you know, didn't go below like what, maybe 190, 180 pounds. I mean, there are guys people that go a lot fucking lower than that. And he was, you know, he was able to drink the Ensure drinks, which are very popular with people in the medical field, but they become very expensive. I mean, to have my dad, who's normally a 220, 230 pound guy, drinking enough Ensure to maintain his weight because he can't eat. I mean, you're going to pay an arm and a leg. It was a lot cheaper to do the weight gainers, and the weight gainers tasted just as good because they had a bunch of sugar and added a bunch of sugar to it. I told my mom, just dump sugar in it, throw a banana in there, you know, put oil in it, put peanut butter in it, put whatever he wants in it, because he'll be able to drink it down, you know, and be able to swallow it. And since the nausea was controlled by the medication, you could keep it down, and it helped. You know, so it's definitely, you know, there's going to be some times in your life, whether you have the flu, whether you have, you know, stomach virus is kind of hard because like anything you put in there comes right back out. So stomach virus is okay. You're not keeping anything down. You're going to lose some gains, whatever. But if you have the flu, like when I'm sick and I have the flu, I have a cold. If I don't feel like eating, I go with shakes. You know, if I had to blend oatmeal in the shakes to keep my carbs up, that's what I do. You know, there's absolutely a way to do it, and I've done it throughout the years to where the only time I lose gains is when I want to lose gains. Like that's it. You know, if I wanted to come off steroids, I lost gains. If I wanted to drop muscle for physique, I lost gains. You know, if I wanted to not go to the gym and train for a month, I would lose gains. You know, other than that, I was able to keep them. And I think that a lot of people out there who are going to be going through detox, essentially detox withdrawals, who need something positive to focus on, get to the gym like early in the morning or mid-afternoon when there's nobody in there, so it's just you. So you don't have to worry about people staring at you, you know, being weaker or shaking or, you know, whatever the case may be. Get your shakes in. Another thing I used to do is take lavender spray and spray it on my pillow, which lavender is supposed to help relax you at night. I used to take this Alka-Seltzer. It was a green and with yellow. It was like Alka-Seltzer at bedtime to help try to sleep. And I would drink that before I went to bed. Now, be totally aware anything you do during these withdrawals is going to be a mental trigger for you to smell and taste. It's hard to explain, but like every time I smell lavender, it brings me right back to that point in my life where I felt those withdrawals and how I felt not sleeping, and it's a reminder. So be aware that it's like a trigger. Like whatever you do, you eat, you sleep, you know, you watch certain movies. I mean, there's a movie called The Ninth Gate, I think, with Johnny Depp. I see that movie. That movie was being played in heavy rotation on cable when I was going through withdrawals, and I would pass out and wake back up, and it was like the movie never ended because it would be playing again. And I remember seeing it several times within the 2-week time frame. And when I see that movie, it's almost like I'm right back there again. Like, it reminds me of it a lot. So be aware that that's going to happen to you in the future too. And above all else, just don't give up. Just keep moving forward. You're going to want to give in. You're going to want to give up. You're going to want to go back on methadone. You're going to want to go back on any kind of drug other than what you're doing to kill the pain. But once you set forward on that journey to get through that detox, every day it's going to get better once you get over the hump. It's just getting over that hump. And I tell you what, like, it takes a lot of courage for you to do this, and I know you're amping yourself up to do it. It takes a lot of heart, and it takes a lot of I don't want to say stupidity, but yeah, it takes a lot of stupidity to go backwards and go back on the methadone again, especially if you've already got halfway through it. You make it to the halfway point, finish strong, and just get it fucking done. Biostraining@gmail.com. Leave comments down below, but don't fight. www.biostraining.com is a blog. I wouldn't tell you to do anything that I haven't done myself. Go for it, bicep, and we're out.